Whoa, league of my own, it don't get better. No, read what I wrote.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Passion to Paycheck Podcast. On today's episode, we have Maricel. Hey Maricel, how are you doing today?
Hi everyone.
How are you doing?
Doing good.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. So to get started, go ahead and let the audience know a little bit about yourself and what you're currently working on.
Okay, a little bit about myself. I'm in my midlife. Let's just say that. And I'm a nurse anesthesiologist. This will be 20 years. It's coming December 2025. I've been a registered nurse since, I was 22 years old.
Oh,
like
dang.
I said, I'm in my midlife era. So that's a long time. Let's see. So anything that has to do with needle, I'll pick it up. I don't care what skill it is. If it's a needle, I'll push it, right? So I'm working on my own business. It's like a side hustle. And don't let it fool you being a side hustle because like everyone's faces mean something. Everyone is different, right? I treat each anesthetic and each aesthetic client or patient not all the same. So
Unique. Everybody's unique.
Yeah, everyone's unique. There's no cookie cutter way of doing it. So
Right.
like, for example, like Botox and fillers, those are different from anesthesia. And within those disciplines, people need different things or people want different things. It gets creative more so in my aesthetics practice because some people, if they could have transformation from head to toe, they would do it. Some people, they're very prudent and they're like, I just want like a certain area. So it's very unique to each individual. So that's basically what I do right now. So anesthesia and aesthetics. So I'm a mom. I have 2 teenagers, a boy and a girl, a wife, 24 years this year.
Nice.
And then I'm like all kinds of other stuff.
Right?
Okay, we'll talk a little bit of the other stuff as well.
Yeah.
So what kind of drew you into the field of anesthesiology that kind of made you kind of like, I want to go into this?
Yeah, well, so I was kind of like, let's go back, right? So I was in junior college. After I got out of high school, I went to junior college, not sure what I was going to do, but I wanted a sure way of making a living because I kind of saw how my parents raised 4 kids on very fixed incomes, and my dad would side hustle a whole lot. So I grew up in that discipline, and I'm like, how do I did get a scholarship to a design school. It's called Otis Parsons School of Design. For like a couple of semesters. So it wasn't going to be the thing because my dad refused to allow me to go to a design school because it was art and he didn't think that it was something that I could pursue as a living career forever, So in our culture, we're Filipinos, so it's always been about medicine. He's like, well, I thought you wanted to be a dentist. I thought you wanted to be a surgeon. This is what you told me as you were growing up, right? What happened to that? And I'm like, but Dad, I really like art. And he's like, nah, because you can have art later. And so my counselor at the junior college pretty much gave me the track, like what classes to take every semester. And it was quick because I just checked all the boxes. I'm a box checker. I just want to get things done. And before you know it, I got into University of Southern California and Mount St. Mary's. It's the all-girls school just right above UCLA campus. It's not all-girls school anymore. There's men in that campus now, but I decided through, my brother's urging to be like, hey, go to SC. That's more fun. It's more name recognition and all that. So I thought, okay, I'll go there. And 4 years later, I became a registered nurse with my bachelor's degree. And then I started working, well, this is kind of getting into the weeds because I started working at a hospital in LA. And I couldn't cut it somehow. They decided to let me go. I was working as a a graduate nurse. So let me go, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. At the time, I was working at Bank of America as a teller. And my boyfriend at the time moved to Texas, and he was like, hey, there's all these jobs. We moved there. I moved there, and I was making $13 an hour as a registered nurse with a bachelor's degree. That's like crazy.
Wow.
That's Texas. So then I tried my best to try to get into the ICU, and eventually I did. I worked 3 years in the ICU, and between then, somebody came up in the middle of the night, because I worked nights, to intubate my patient, to put an airway into my patient. And I wondered, like, who is this woman, She looked like she was about 20-ish, mid-20s or so. And she's like, yeah, I came from the labor and delivery department. They wanted me to intubate your patient. And I'm like, what are you doing from the L&D department intubating my patient?
Yeah.
And this is kind of where I got really curious, like, who are you?
Yeah.
And she said, I'm a certified registered nurse anesthetist. And I was like, I got to find that. I got to find out what that is. So I went home and got on America Online. Took forever to find out, because it was like through the phone jack, and found out. And I thought, well, maybe I could try, see what this is all about. And of course, at the time, I was only 23 years old, and the other nurses thought I was kind of trying to take too much of a bite out of this apple. Like, you're too young, you're too inexperienced, So I'm like, I don't know. The only way I'll know is to try.
Try it.
Yeah, so I went through the process of the interviews, the panel interviews, and I applied to 2 schools back at my alma mater, USC, and then at Texas Wesleyan University. And I got into Texas Wesleyan, and I started my first semester there and was accepted to the USC program a semester in. And I said, I can't go back. I've done so much already, and it's a tough program.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very condensed, but it's a lot of material. So about 32 months, I guess.
Oh, dang, that's long.
That was a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, my residency was in LA, actually San Bernardino. Did that for the last half of the anesthesia program. It was a really good experience.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's very empowering to be able to put people to sleep and wake them up, Not just put them to sleep, but also wake them up. And
I don't want to get you mad. I don't want to go sleep.
like, I'm your best friend in the OR, Yeah, and children, too, those are the worst. Those are the things that make me so nervous.
Wow.
Yeah, they keep you on top of your game, especially. Yeah, and I never take anything for granted, no matter how serious or how simple the case might be. Could be a little colonoscopy or something. You're putting somebody to sleep, or could be like a thoracic procedure. It's all very unique, like I said. Yeah.
Yeah. When you did the first one, how did that feel? Were you nervous?
My very first anesthetic.
Yeah.
Well, we had all eyes on, and all eyes are on you.
Yeah.
And it's not like the first. So it's a first patient, right? But it's like the first intubation, the first giving them a muscle relaxant, which is actually a paralytic, the first wake up, the first induction. It's a lot of things for one patient.
Wow.
For all the firsts. And I was like, it's like, oh gosh, I did it. I intubated him. Yes, I did it. So that's like a victory right there.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so how do I balance this out to where I'm waking him up, not wild, not like jumping, just a nice, smooth wake up.
Wake up.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot of, it's like a recipe, it's like cooking.
it's like cooking.
It's like flying a plane, and it's like a recipe, like cooking.
We're giving this drug, a little bit of this
Yeah,
one.
it's like takeoff and landing, and then a little bit of this and that in between. Let's bake a cake or something. Let's figure it out.
As
Yeah.
far as like the technology too, have you seen the transition from like when you started to now, as far as like needles, being able to inject
Yes.
people easier,
Yes.
a lot safer?
Yes.
What's been the biggest change in the technology
In the
world?
technology, I would say would be the anesthesia machines.
Okay.
Because it would be we call it the bellows, where the oxygen and the mixture of air and oxygen and gas, it comes up, and then there is a compressor, and it presses it down. So that's kind of like pushing it through the system, and then it inflates the lungs. And then the lungs, the way you exhale, everything just relaxes, right? So it pushes the air back, and it's like back and forth. It's just in and out of oxygen, air, and carbon dioxide, everything. So that was technology before, and then it moved to where it was like looking under the hood, and they were pistons. So you would see the air and oxygen and everything being compressed in that way, And now it's just all electronic.
Just a box. So it's just a box now.
It's just a box.
Yeah.
You don't even see some of these machines that are brand new. You don't even see the actual compression of everything. Yeah, it's just and it's touch screen now. Used to be like dials. You see them everywhere still. There are these big machines that are workhorses, like draggers and things that are kind of obsolete now. It's hard to find replacement parts for them, but there are replacement parts out there. So a lot of veterinary clinics will use those, but the technology has definitely changed in that sense. It kind of like makes me nervous a little bit, and I feel like I'm old. Like I've got old person syndrome when I see touch screens, and then I'm like, you know what? You have to
adapt.
Calm down and adapt to this. You'll get it. Same thing with electronic medical records. That is such a pain, and in your mind you want to resist it so bad, but forget it. Just don't resist. Just learn it and just move on.
Adapt with the times as times change.
Yeah, medications too.
Okay.
Not as much as technology though.
And then as far as when you work with surgical teams, what's kind of the most rewarding part of that for you?
Man. The most rewarding would be, I would say, trauma.
Okay.
And those kind of get heavy, because a lot of people, I used to work at the county hospital here, and they're young. The patients are young. They don't intend to be in the hospital that day, or not even in the last year. It's just tragic. You have people that have chronic illnesses, and you kind of see, okay, kidney failure, liver failure, things like that. But when trauma comes in, you see people, at the time I was like in my 20s, like people my age coming in and have like no chance.
Wow.
Or you give them the best chance.
Right.
And the most rewarding is you work so hard all night long, and then you kind of see them in the next few days, in the next couple weeks, recovering. Those are the most rewarding.
Getting better.
Getting better, yeah. A lot of the things when I was an ICU nurse was watching these patients. Some of them would be like organ donors, and you just watch them deteriorate. And I would go home every night thinking the next day, like, are they going to be there tomorrow when I show up to work? With anesthesia is a lot different, which is I think this is why I chose it, is because it's immediately gratifying, because you wake them up and they're awake and they go home, or they go to their hospital room and recover there. I'm never thinking about, is my job incomplete? Like, I completed my job today because I woke up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
nice.
the families too.
Seeing
Like,
the smiles of them, like, oh, he's awake, doing better, recovering.
Yeah. In ICU, it was like every day you saw the same mother, father, grandparents, siblings, and it's just like. But there are more good stories than bad. It's just like you remember the ones that.
Those are the ones that hit you.
Yeah, and then you always have that one patient that you'll never forget.
Yeah, I can only imagine all the stuff you've seen as far as emergencies, all the ER, the OR.
You kind of get jaded a little bit.
Kind of.
How would you deal with all that stuff? Because you don't want to take it home, and like you say, a lot of stuff it just sticks to you, and it's hard to forget, especially that one person. What helped you deal with all that?
It was really hard because I was very young and kind of immature. And, man, you do take it home with you. And it does affect your family life.
Right.
It really does. I remember one Thanksgiving, I got a phone call saying, hey, we need somebody here. And I had my whole family visit us from LA. And you know what I did? I said, yeah, I'll be right there. And I left.
Wow.
Not thinking about my husband, you know, he was so upset. And he didn't tell me for like years. He was like, remember that time? He's like, that pissed me off. But I didn't know better. I was an idiot at the time.
Yeah.
You know, but you do take it home. Now, I mean, before I found God, you know, it's alcohol. Let's party. Let's hang out. Let's, you know. And it wasn't because I wanted to forget about this one particular thing. It wasn't that. It was just like I was cynical. I became cynical, and it just became another case, another case, another case. Let's just get through it. Yeah. But now things are meaning more. Like when I see a patient, I know, or I talk to them, and we talk about like the holidays right now.
Yeah.
What they've been through kind of thing. Some of my patients are recurring patients. I work in pain management these days, and I know them. I've known them for years now. So there's that whole other side where you're like in the community, you feel part of the community.
So it does get easier with time, especially when you have God in your life.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
Just
Yeah, I
learning
don't think
to
there's
let
anything
go
in
of,
life without God.
Yeah.
Right.
It helps you like let go of like what just happened and kind of detach in
Yeah,
a way.
because you understand then it's part of life.
It's a life cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you work a lot. And as far as with your long operation hours, how do you manage the fatigue during those long operation hours?
Boy, I'm telling you, they say, you know, I'm too tired to exercise, but that's the very thing that's going to help you manage to gain more energy and things
Being
like that.
active.
That's so important. Yeah. I've always been very active. I used to run. And then like, I thought, I heard it's not really that good for your knees. So I stopped. And it was true because I was experiencing it. So then I decided to just go on full on yoga. And that's where I met.
I actually met
Rudy.
her at yoga because
Yeah.
we got the same yoga certification from the same teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Oh,
how I
okay.
met her, just randomly.
Yeah, just like we put down our mats, and that first day we put down our mats, we never left those spots right. That was
Yeah.
ours, and that's how I got to know.
Yeah, I was
Rudy
like, oh,
and
yeah, I'm a
me.
CPA, and then she's like, oh, is that right?
Yeah, this was a long time ago,
Oh,
2019.
you're still CPA.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
working
okay.
as a CPA still,
Yeah.
and I was doing the yoga certification as well.
You know, Rudy always tells me like what to do, like the next step, because at the time he was like, hey, are your kids on TikTok? And I go, what's TikTok? And he's like, that's the next thing, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then I'm like, dang, I remember Rudy told me about TikTok. Like, this was 2022, and he told me in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have started a channel back then.
But yeah, that's
Yeah.
how we met. And then down the road, eventually, I think I reached out back to her. I found her. I was like, hey, I'm a fitness trainer now. And then from there, that's how I kind of reconnected with Maricel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then something happened where I was on a plane for a long time, and I was just, you know, you fall asleep on a plane and you lose circulation to certain areas. In my case, it was my left knee, I think. It was my
Yeah.
left knee. I was going through a lot of left side issues, and so I thought I'd go see Rudy for rehabilitation because I didn't want to take it like the medical way.
Right.
I wanted to try to fix it on my own kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of fix it, not mask it with the medication. Yeah.
Yeah, you could know so much being in medicine, and kind of like you want to stay away from that until you really, really need it, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Thank
like the
goodness
last
that's really-
resort as far as like,
Yeah.
all right, this is it. I need this medical procedure, medical shot, or whatever it
Yeah.
is, right? Especially because you do a lot of the injections and you understand
Oh,
how
yeah.
those affect the body more than your average person who doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily understand what happens if you get a certain shot so many times. What happens to the fluid in the joints and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I see patients who, for example, I've got a couple of patients that were, you know, in the police department, and they get an injury or something. You see them; they're healthy. They look great. They're young, vibrant, and everything. But then they get steroids, and steroids kind of just take over. It causes more arthritis the more steroids you get, and there's all kinds of other issues with the immune system and everything. And then like 5 years later, it's like, dude, you look nothing like you looked when you walked in here the first time 5 years ago.
because
So.
it pretty much ate up all the fluid in the
Yeah.
joints and kind of made things way worse. Like you
Yeah.
said, it causes more arthritis than actually heals the body.
And they're still in pain, so.
And then
it's
they
pretty
still
sad,
keep
but
getting the shots because that's the only thing they know that
it's pretty
helps
quick
for
fix.
them. The kind of the immediate gratification instead of doing the work of like, okay, what's actually wrong? How can I fix this, strengthen this, or do whatever I need to do for this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I wish more people would think that way.
Yeah, they want the fast route because if you take the fast route, whether it's the pills, the shots, everything, it's immediate. But if you go into like strength training, mobility strength training, it takes a little longer, almost about 3 months for some people, sometimes even 6 months to a year. And people are not willing to wait that long. They want
Yeah.
it gone now. But what they don't realize is you wait those 3, 6, 12 months, the pain goes away and it won't come back because now you know how to treat it
Yeah.
without shots and deteriorating the joints, and you're creating more blood flow, strengthening the tendons, the ligaments, the muscles. And over time, especially as we get older, longevity wise, if we are always having these shots in our joints, we're going to be crippled by the time we're 80, 90, if we make
Yeah.
it that long, if we keep getting these shots.
You know, we're so complex. We're made very complex. And you can't take all those layers and repair them overnight. It takes some time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then it takes time for all, like your ligaments, your tendons, your muscles, your fascia, everything to work together.
Especially if it's something that you've not taken care of for the last 5, 10 years. Those take even longer. But it's
Yeah.
like we didn't get here overnight.
Right.
It's not going to take overnight for us to get back to where our body was before all of these issues started occurring.
Yeah. One thing that I saw, I was scrolling, and there's this, she's on Instagram. I don't remember her name, and I wish I could to give her credit, but she was saying like all your pain is just you having to pay back your debt, you know, all the things that you didn't do, and now you're thinking you're broken. You're not. You just got to go pay back all that debt that you owe your body or yourself.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
The lifestyle you put your body
Yeah.
You pay for what you do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish more people understood that, but people just always want more.
Yep.
Boom, boom, boom. Now,
It's the Western culture.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
Eastern culture is way
Very-
different.
Yeah.
You see them doing more squats, like sitting down in a full
Yes.
squat, doing more knees over toes, walking backwards. In the Asian culture, is very popular for them to walk
Mm-hmm.
backwards because usually the older generation will tell the younger ones, like, start doing this to help you avoid knee arthritis in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think in Asia, it's like a 10-to-1 ratio, something around there. Don't quote me, but around that, where for everyone knee surgery, there it's about 10 or so here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember in the Philippines, I didn't grow up there, but I was born there. I spent like the first 4 years of my life, but I do remember seeing people just eat, squatting, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, no tables, no chairs, and no problem. No knee issues, nothing.
And they grow old fine over there.
Mm-hmm.
In most countries that do stuff like that.
Yeah. Our Western culture is very young. We're very technologically advanced. And so with that comes medications that things that we could have prevented, we're treating,
Yeah.
you know? So,
And as far as like your profession, what do you think are the biggest misconceptions about it?
oh, it's huge. So I'm a nurse anesthetist. So a lot of people don't know that there are anesthesia providers out there that are nurse trained. So most of them, probably, I don't know, 60, 70% of the population will tell you it was my anesthesiologist, my doctor. Well, there's a CRNA behind that. There's a certified registered anesthesiologist behind all that. It's a lot of anesthetics in a year. There's about 60,000 of us in America. And the biggest misconception is that there are no nurses in this field, but there are a lot of nurses in this field. Yeah, and we take great pride in caring what we do.
Do you say most of them would be nurses? Or
Most anesthesia providers, I don't know how many MDs there are, to be exact. But yes, there are like about 60,000.
No, that's a lot. It's a good amount.
Yeah, in all states, in all military, Army, Navy, Marines, every single military division, I guess you would call it. They're in the front lines, a lot of them. So the what do you call it? Veterans hospitals, yeah.
All over.
All over, university hospitals, yeah. I'm private. I'm a private contractor, so I kind of carry my own schedule, I guess you could say.
Which is
A lot
nice,
of us
I'm
do
sure.
work for hospital systems, though. Yeah.
That way you can still make time for the family and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
like
when
you were
need
asking,
to.
how do I kind of do it with my aesthetics practice and my anesthesia practice, is because I can control my schedule to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I do know you teach yoga,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's how I kind of met you. What kind of inspired you to start teaching yoga?
Well, I'm a person that I try to obligate myself to do the most important things. So if I am obligated to somebody else, like say for example a yoga class that they rely on me to show up, then I'll show up, and that helps me to get my workouts and get my yoga in.
Accountability.
Yeah. Like accountability to myself without thinking,
Right.
you know, like, oh, okay, I know I have to be here at a certain time. I'll just go there.
Yeah.
And I'll be there. I'll get my workout in. And yoga teachers will tell you this. Like when you're teaching yoga, it's like it's hard to get your own practice in fully,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like you have to actually go to a class to get your practice in for yourself, to get that full gratifying moment of just an hour just for yourself. Most yoga classes are 60 minutes.
Yeah, about 60.
They should really be 90, you know? And so in order for you to get through mentally and physically in there, it does take a long time. If you're teaching and walking around and talking, it's hard, but it does the job.
Okay.
It gets my workouts in.
Which makes it
Yeah.
easier because you're always so busy too.
Yeah.
And then like you said, you have to be there because you're teaching.
Yeah. I have to show up.
Because
you
otherwise
know?
you probably wouldn't
People
be
are
going.
relying on me to show up. If it was just for me, I'd be like, eh.
And then as far as your yoga practice, what's some things you've done to grow as a yoga instructor as well?
Oh, wow. So I feel like I've just been inspired so much by my daughter because she's a dancer. She's danced for a local studio here, and she still does. And it's just gorgeous. It's beautiful. When it first opened up, the director, her name's Shelby Wall, she's at Dance Nation. She did a couple of adult classes that were like jazz, you know, and lyrical. Not lyrical, actually jazz. 2 jazz classes. That was fun for me. I loved it. And then this thing called Inside Flow. Inside Flow. It originated in Germany, and it's slowly making its way to the United States.
Yeah, I've seen more of that here now.
Yeah. So a couple of ladies from the Haven Yoga Studio said, hey, check it out, try it. So I went to Oklahoma in October to learn it. It's amazing. It's just, it's a wonderful variation of yoga and dance. Just
Put together.
amalgamated, together,
Yeah.
yeah. Very, very nice flow. I love flows. I don't like to stop too much. I just want to keep moving like dance. I think that if my parents were capable of it at the time, I'm very lucky now because we were able to give that to our daughter. But my parents couldn't do much. I mean, it was like they go to work, you go to school, you come home, you do homework, go back to school the next day. You know, it wasn't how it is with us. We're very blessed
Yeah.
that we can do stuff for our kids.
Well, I'm sure the kids love it as well.
Yeah, she loves it. Yeah.
And then going back to the aesthetics business, how do you educate your clients about the differences between Botox and other treatments?
Oh, we take a lot of time in our first consultation. We take a lot of time. Like, we look at the face. So, for example, we want to do a good balance. So it's not just, okay, well, whenever I do a consult, it's not just what do you want to see. Of course, it is what is it about your face that you want to see a change in. So we do that too, but then we go further to say, okay, well, it would be balanced. Your facial features would be more balanced if we did some filler here or some filler there. So in our first consult, we do the whole thing. Whether they buy the whole thing or not, that's up to them. Whether they do it that day or, down the line, we kind of prioritize their needs and their wants first. But I want to show them kind of the potential of everything.
Okay.
And allow them to ask questions. And we talk about skincare too. It's not just, needles and everything. It's a lot of comprehensive.
Yeah. Information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Comprehensive information.
Then during that consultation, is there a certain aspect of that you kind of set more realistic expectations for the clients? So they're not like, I want this real fast. You're
Yes.
like more of a slow process, or
Yes.
kind of help them understand more of it's not going to be this fast. We got to do a couple treatments, or
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, you have to give them realistic expectations. Just in the class, the patient population alone in the aesthetics field, they have expectations that, come on, let's bring you back, Yeah. There are some patients who feel they could maybe feel their way to perfection, and that's not true at all. Sometimes you have to hold it back and say, maybe let's stop here and look at other things like facelifts. Fillers and Botox is not a replacement for surgical intervention, depending on what they want.
Right.
Well, that's kind of good. At least you set that realistic, because sometimes they'll
Yeah.
have this expectation. You're like, oh yeah, I don't think you can do that one, right?
Yeah,
Or
I
maybe
mean, I've had to limit syringes, but they're like, no, it's okay. I want more. I'll pay for it. And I said, no, it's not that. It's maybe migrated. Maybe we should take some out and then start over or something.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because someone might want to take it to the next level, and it's all like, it's almost like an addiction.
Like tattoos.
Yeah.
Plastic surgery could be
Right.
an addiction. The next thing and the next thing. What am I going to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the esthetician business, what do you find the most fulfilling about helping people feel more confident in their
The aesthetics
features?
business. Yeah. I mean, if a patient can look like they've slept, less tired, that's a huge fulfillment. Like, wow, you just look more rested.
Yeah.
So we want to take them there because that's the most impactful, because when you see their eyes are brighter, it helps them feel good.
Yeah.
Builds more
It helps them
confidence.
present themselves in a way that is more confident and more open, and yeah.
And for anyone who's wanting to start a side business in that field, what would be like a piece of advice for them?
Oh, just learn. I do a lot of self-teaching and self-learning. I learned this from going to school at USC. It's a lot of self-accountability. It really is. And your curiosity will take you so far. And that's what happened to me. And I think that, yes, you can pay for all these programs. You can go to all these classes. You could do this. But you need to really jump into it and learn it for yourself. People could talk at you and teach you. But if you're not interested or just passing time, being in that class, or, I paid for it, so now I'm certified in it or whatever. No, that's not really enough.
Yeah. You want to actually do it and keep on learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to keep learning. And actually, you have to pick up the needle, too, and the syringe. You have to just go for it, Get to a point where you feel like you're ready and you're safe, number one. And then find some good friends. Find some good friends who you're going to give
So they're going to trust you.
Yeah, you're
The
going to
test
give
batch.
that deep discount to forever and ever. I made a promise to some friends. And yeah, we're still at it. And
Nice.
they've trusted me
Yeah.
for my first what, 20 injections, probably 30 injections. And so they have that right. They've earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You had friends to help you.
Yeah. They're gracious enough. They trust me with their faces.
Yeah.
Yeah. And their lives too. I mean, a lot of my friends I put to sleep.
Oh,
So
dang.
it's like, it's a great honor for a friend to ask you to be the person to put them to sleep.
But wake me up too.
Yeah. But do me right and wake me up. Yeah.
So as far as a day in your profession, what's a typical day for you when you go into the hospital or pain management
Monday,
right now?
Tuesday. Depends on the day.
So it varies based on the day you're working.
Yeah. So Tuesdays are always like clockwork. It used to be Tuesdays and Thursdays, but now it's just Tuesdays. And then Mondays is like every other Monday or so. I work for a neurosurgeon. We do his cases. And then every other Monday that are not with him, I'll go to the hospital and do cases there. Wednesdays, I'm at the hospital or at another surgery center somewhere in town. And I'm there for like 8 or 9 hours. But I leave the late afternoons to myself because that's my yoga teaching time. And also some weekends, yoga teaching time. Thursdays is kind of like, hey, you need me from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I'm there, I'm working. And same with Fridays. About 2 Fridays a month, I go to Newport Beach to do anesthesia for the same neurosurgeon. He's a good friend of mine. And weekends, I'll be at home, or like at the hospital, labor and delivery department, doing epidurals, doing C-sections, just maintaining these pregnant women, their anesthetics. Yeah. So it's kind of like I really, and then my aesthetics, I do all these Botox sort of events. I'll try to stack them up on my days off in the clinic. And then the evenings too, like Monday evenings are free. Tuesday, late evenings are free.
So you just have like little events. You get like a group of girls and they all come around.
Yeah.
And
Somebody will set it up. They'll be the host and I'll come to them or they'll come to me. We'll do a thing, an event. But yeah, most of my aesthetics are in the evening, which works out because a lot of people don't get off till 5 p.m.
Yeah, they're working.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Kinda
don't
like
have to take the day off to come see me.
Yeah.
It's like going to the gym after work.
And then somewhere in there, I go see Rudy once a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty busy.
Make
My
sure
daughter's busy.
Oh,
My son
yeah.
is busy.
You're always running around. I know that.
Yeah.
And with
I'm
all,
blessed to have a husband that's very supportive. He's kind of like one of those people that you could, he's agile in a way that it's like, hey, I need this right now. He's like, okay, let's do it.
Oh, that's a blessing
That's
for
a
sure.
blessing.
I'm sure that makes the marriage a lot easier to manage for both of you guys.
You can't have two of the same people, I don't think.
Kind of your yin and yang of the
Yes, very much.
of the
It's black and
relationship.
white.
Yeah, you gotta kind of complement each other too.
Yeah.
And then as far as your busyness, how do you prioritize time for your husband? Do you guys have like times you guys go out, dates, or?
We're very simple. From the time we met, it didn't matter where we were, what we were doing. We're just together. We don't try to complicate things. If we could sneak in a holiday or like a vacation in there, it's great. We have a good time.
Because you went to Hawaii
We went to
on
Hawaii for
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
That was
That
probably
was
fun.
We did that 5 years ago too. Thanksgiving Hawaii is kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a tradition you want to keep, maybe.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's our second time we did that. 2019 and then this year. 2019 before COVID happened. We came back from vacation and I swear like the month later it was like everybody's getting sick.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, we never saw a plane since. So
Oh, that's funny.
this one is a little, maybe it's my ear.
Yeah, and for your children, as far as parenting them, what's a challenge you've had but overcame that challenge?
Okay, so that's interesting because very early on, we knew we were going to be busy people. You could just see the writing on the wall who I was since I was 13 years old. I'd been working ever since, did not stop. And I'm like, I can't do this by myself, and I know I only have this one chance to be a mom. So, well, my husband and I, we were like, he's not the same religion as me. So I'm Catholic, and he's Buddhist. And, we had to kind of overcome that just to be married. And so it was like, what are we going to do with our kids? We understood that they needed a really good foundation, so we decided to put them in Catholic school. So they've been in Catholic school ever since they could go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And one's graduating this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I got 2 more years with our little girl. And it just like, the foundation is there. It really worked. It really worked out well. It was worth it. Because we were very young and kind of driven, still very lost. Like, what are we going to do? I know I want to do this career kind of thing. And I wanted to make the best out of my kids that I could. Everyone wants that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And at the time, we were living in Texas and decided to move to California. But things happened in my family where, not my immediate family, but like my sister and her kids, that my parents couldn't be around with us at the time. But also, then years later, my parents came to live with us after they retired, and that's just been amazing.
I'm sure that helps quite a bit.
Yes, there are 3 generations in my household right now, and it's like it's unmatched. There are challenges within that too,
Yeah.
but I think that my parents' way of thinking, they're the grandparents. They're so different from the way we think, the way our kids think,
yeah.
and it's like the kids get exposed to all of it. And it's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to teaching your kids about health and fitness, how do you go about doing that? Because I know you take really good care of yourself, and I'm sure you want to pass that on to the kids.
I can't really instill like the whole, go to the gym, work out kind of thing. They don't drive. They can't get themselves around everywhere. So it's just kind of like you make sure they're active. We had to make sure they were doing something every year from the beginning. They were doing jiu-jitsu for a little bit, and then Addison decided she wanted to just do dance. So she's at the dance studio till probably 9 o'clock, 9:30 every weeknight. This year she's like there till 9 o'clock, and then Thursdays and Fridays she gets a little break. She's not there as late. And then Garen, he is fencing, so that keeps him active. He comes to see Rudy too every once in a while. He likes that.
Well, he loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Be flexing in the mirror.
Yeah, he doesn't like see a mirror that doesn't like him, or he doesn't like him. He's like, hey. Yeah, he's good.
And what's one thing your children have taught you about yourself?
Gosh, that's loaded. I realized there's a scary mom, like a scary voice. I didn't know that. Yeah, like, why do you use your scary voice? That was them when they were younger, but I don't know. I just think like I don't treat them as kids. We talk like we're adults at home. Sometimes I'll spoil my son a little bit and act like he's a baby still, but it's a mother and a son kind of situation.
Yeah.
And my daughter quickly, she's like, why do you treat him like that? Yeah, but we talk like adults because, they're going to be eventually in charge of their own lives. And I also make sure that they make their own decisions. And why did you make that decision? Because I'm not going to be there to make decisions for you.
Right.
So
I think that's important because that's how I talk to my daughter. Like if she's an adult, and let her make her own decisions.
Yes.
And let her mess up and
let her
learn.
live with her decisions while they're at home, and they have protections.
Mm-hmm.
Realize the consequences of those decisions. Let them make the mistakes, especially early when they're little.
Yeah.
Because it's an easy lesson to teach when they're little. It doesn't take much to recover from a bad decision, for example. I always tell them, just be respectable enough to listen, no matter who you're talking to, especially adults. Because the adults, they'll give you the best of
Advice.
themselves,
Yeah.
and opportunities will open up.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my kids are doing pretty good. Pretty
Sounds like
respectful
they are.
kids.
And I've met them. They seem very respectful kids.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm a mom. My husband too. He expects a lot more from them than I do.
Yeah,
He's
that's
harder on
usually
them.
how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's tougher, which is good.
Yeah.
what's a life lesson you hope your children will carry with them into adulthood?
Oh yeah. Like I was saying, like it's that it doesn't matter who you're talking to. You don't need to know their stature or status. You just talk to with respect. You don't know who's behind that person, for example. And opportunities will open up, right? If I see and the same thing with me, if I see a kid, that I see has potential because they listen, they have respect, then there are gifts that I have that I could impart, right?
Right.
A lot of college kids now or high school kids, they try to get into programs and things. I'll write letters of recommendation, and I'm happy to do it because I know the kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, give them opportunities. Maybe you can work at the surgery center where we're at, and see how that goes.
I like
Lately,
that.
I've had to let one of my employees go because he became so good at what he did that he got an offer he couldn't refuse. So I'm happy to do that.
Oh yeah.
Even though it's a loss for me, I've done my part in this person's
Right.
life. It's really nice.
That
Yeah,
probably
it's a
felt
good
good
gift.
too, to know, like, okay, I've
To-
taught you all this stuff and you're able to go off to the next.
To see
Yeah.
them grow and do something better for themselves.
Yes, and two, you think like, okay, this is something that you're doing for somebody else. This is a generational thing. Who knows? It could be somebody that's helping your own kid,
Yeah.
get somewhere. I would
Oh,
like for that opportunity to be opened up for my kids too, and their kids. So
Right.
And when it comes to your own personal growth, how do you maintain focus and motivation during challenging times?
well, I used to be really hard on myself, and I used to think that was my fuel to do it, And lately, I've been working on just refining, like, what do I really want? You just have to focus on what you really want. What is your goal? I'm not saying that I'm the most successful person. We all have challenges and goals to move through, but lately I've just been like, okay, I need to focus because I'm doing so many things in my life. I need to focus on like what I really want and try to move and take action to get to that goal. Like for right now, it's personal finance. They don't teach you that in medical school or nursing school or anything,
Oh,
right?
no, they don't teach it in school no matter
Yeah.
what.
And there's such a shift right now. In this time that we're living in, there's such a shift. So I'm really like listening to people who have research that are experts on that. Like Rudy talks to me a lot about EFTs.
Oh, yeah, and
Yeah.
then crypto and then all
Crypto,
that
yeah.
good stuff.
So it's kind of like one thing I'm trying to learn more about.
Okay. Well, that's always
but
good.
as far as how do I overcome challenges, stop thinking and just doing. People work for the perfect time to do something, but it's like,
Just do it.
how do you define it? Like, how do you define a perfect time? You have
There
to
is
do it and you
none.
have to
Yeah.
fail.
Yeah, there's no perfect time.
Yeah.
The perfect time was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Just do it now.
Yeah.
You just do it because who's to say that when you do it for that first time on that perfect time that it's going to be a success?
Yeah.
You don't know that. You're going to fail.
Usually,
You're right, usually. And you're going to learn. That's
Yeah.
100% for sure.
you learn
You're gonna
from the lessons, or you learn from the failures, or there are more lessons and failures, if depending your perspective on
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah, so these are like for personal goals, right?
Yeah.
I have to separate them from professional things.
Mm-hmm.
You don't set up to fail in professional things like with medicine.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different
Different. Yeah.
thing.
And then as far as still on your personal growth, what are some habits or routines that have helped you the most in achieving your goals?
So exercise for sure.
Exercise.
Definitely. It just, blood flow is like a basic thing. And if you can get that blood flowing with exercise, fluids, that's the first step. And I've been trying to cut out sugar.
It's the
Everyone
hardest one.
is.
It's the hardest one to cut.
Yeah.
Sugar addiction.
It's more addictive than cocaine, pretty much.
Probably, but I don't, it actually activates the same neurotransmitters.
As cocaine, huh?
Uh-huh.
So that's why it makes it, and it's more
Dopamine.
accessible, and
Yeah.
it's cheaper.
Yeah,
It's cheaper.
it's cheap, but it's the same thing. So it's like you have an addictive personality and it's sugar. Just stay away from
Yeah.
everything else. 'Cause it's gonna happen.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I don't have an addictive personality though, so
That's good.
I think I know that much.
Yeah, I do. So I got to manage that.
You do? Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
Thank God.
And then,
Thank God, because I have
Yeah.
access to so much.
oh yeah, yeah. Because I know there are other anesthesiology who do get hooked on painkillers, who get hooked on all the drugs that they have access to.
Yeah, the statistics are about 3 in 10.
Oh,
For every 10 anesthesia providers,
three.
there's 3 of them that are addicted to a substance. May not be what they're, giving in the IV, but it could be like alcohol or something.
Something.
Yeah.
Whether it's the job causing them to want to
Yeah.
disconnect or whatever it is for them.
But yeah, for sure there have been we call them diverters. They
Oh,
divert
okay.
the opiates and stuff like that to somewhere else, to themselves. Who else? I don't know. But
Yeah.
3 in 10.
Oh dang, that's a good 30%.
Mm-hmm.
Then what motivates you to keep pushing forward in your personal and professional life?
I hate to say it, but a lot of it's money. Just to
What?
be honest, right?
Yeah,
Just keeps things going in my life.
maintains a lifestyle.
Yeah. Dance is important. Dance is important to my kids. So I got to, figure out a way to, it's not cheap.
Right.
Oh no.
Provide.
Yeah. We got to provide.
We provide for your family and
Yeah.
giving them what they want, and
There's nothing wrong with wanting better,
of
Oh, yeah.
course not.
so.
I think it's demonized a lot of times. I think
Yeah.
we talked about it before, where people think like money's bad, or
Yeah.
like if you work so much, but based on whatever your family unit wants, that's all that matters, and the outside perspective doesn't really affect.
Exactly. It's not
Shouldn't
the
affect
money.
what you do. Yeah.
It's not the money, just like it's not the gun, whatever,
Yeah.
It's what you do with it, right?
Right.
That's the bad thing. What do you do with it? Do you squander it? Do you abuse it? No, it's what you do with it. If you're using it to grow another business or, do something for your children.
Provide experiences for your
providing.
family too,
Mhm.
which is nice. Doing nice things is always good experiences. Like going to Hawaii ain't cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to give them that memory. So,
And as far as how do you set boundaries to protect your energy and focus? Because you have so much things going on and getting pulled in different directions.
well, learning to say no was hard for me. It's still a thing I'm working on. I still don't do it like as much as I should. But if I'm thinking about it for myself, if I'm saying no for myself, for my time, like for my energy, then it doesn't work. I'll still say yes. I'll still say yes. But if I think of it like, well, if I do this, like if I work extra, if I do too much, and I'm taking away, say, from my kid who needs to go somewhere, be somewhere, needs a ride, or just needs my time and my money, whatever, then I'll be able to say no because it's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And would you say you've gotten better as time's gone
Yes.
on?
Yeah, because then I'm starting to realize, hey, my energy is for me right now, but actually it trickles down to my family.
Yeah.
And it benefits me because I get to rest and spend time with them.
Yeah.
So it has gotten better. I've gotten more perspective on it. I've learned to prioritize my family better than I used to.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm sure they don't teach you that in school either. Like, you're going to work this much and you got to figure out how to balance your life, this, and this.
Yeah, and again, it's our culture. You know, I mean, other countries take the afternoon off. They take a little nap in the middle of the day, right? In Europe. Our culture's all about, like, let's keep going.
Work, yeah.
Yeah, my parents, too. They were all about work. They're all about making it in America.
Yeah.
You know?
When did they come to America?
Oh, in the 70s.
In the 70s. And
Yeah.
you were born in the Philippines?
Yeah, my dad actually moved to, I guess he went to Guam or something early on. And then years later got my mom and the kids. Then I just saw, they would tell the stories. They were just living in like the garage. I don't know what the garage looks like a painter's garage. They were living in that before they were able to save up enough money to get a duplex in Silver Lake in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And they got us from the Philippines, 4 siblings. I remember there was like 13 of us were living in one house because it was like us, the immediate family, and then some old friends with their kids too. In a duplex.
After a busy day of yours, what's one of your favorite ways to kind of unwind?
I don't have time, really. There's no time to unwind. I wait till the weekend. It's like, oh, the weekend.
Right.
You
to
know?
get some rest.
Yes, because I come home and it's, you know, how are the kids doing? How is their day, you know? Looking at my schedule, looking at what's happening the next day. I get calls from staff about what are we doing the next day kind of thing, how the cases are going to go. There's really not a lot of downtime.
Until the weekend for you.
Yeah. If I could get, you know, an hour in front of the TV just to chill and relax with my dogs and my husband, that's good enough for me. And then I'll go to bed. Also, I don't get a lot of sleep. So if I can get 6 hours, that's a plus. Yeah.
That's my go-to.
For the next day. Yeah.
6 is my go-to if I can
If I
get
can
it
get
usually.
6, 5 is good, but you know, I get sucked in like if I'm watching a show or something, or you know, we just had elections.
Oh, yeah.
That was a roller coaster, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I love that. I love listening to all that. So I'll get on, and it's a bad habit. I don't recommend it. You want to get rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's kind of like a wind down. It's kind of like not thinking about anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you weren't in your current career, what do you think you'd be doing instead right now?
Well, what I would have want to be doing is, you know, probably something in art.
No,
Like yeah, every time I open a new phone package, like an Apple, you know, package, a watch or an iPhone or something, it's gorgeous. It's so cleverly made. The other packaging that I would love to design would have been like perfume bottles. I think those are gorgeous. They're very unique.
Mm-hmm.
I would have done something like that.
something in that field, graphic design or something like that.
Yeah.
And you've made cakes before too.
I did.
Is that kind of an art for you when you're
Yes.
doing it? Because I know you've made some big cakes before.
Yes, self-taught. The cake baking was okay. That was like something you just had to get through and do it. I liked that, but I like to decorate more than baking the cake. You know, baking them, stacking them, filling them, all that stuff is there. But like once you get to the decorating part, that's where it's like,
at.
yes. And I will stay up all night. Yeah, you can ask my family. I will stay up all night to do that.
Are they like, oh, you're crazy for doing that?
Yes. If I have a cake and I present it, to a client and they'd say, I don't want to cut it. That's a compliment
That's what you
want
to hear, yeah.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. I don't want to cut it or whatever, whatever they're going for.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, you need to get on that show. Like, is it a cake or is it not whatever? And I'm like,
if
no.
it's real or it's not.
Yeah, because the winnings from that show, it's going to take my time. I have to go there, drive there, I have to show my face, talk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And if I do win, I could have done anesthesia because that's number one. That's number one.
Oh, that's funny.
That's like the one thing that funnels and funds all my other hobbies, because without that, I don't know.
Yeah.
It wouldn't
like
be a joy to me to make the cake.
Right.
It would be like work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, it's coming
You
from my
enjoy it,
heart.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing it out of love and
Yeah.
kind of your passion and using that art of yours.
Yes.
So kind of having the anesthesia business, which helps you fund everything else,
Yes.
the lifestyle, the fun activities, the yoga,
Yeah.
going to, like you went to Oklahoma to go do that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been able to do that without your business, right?
No, I mean, it costs money.
Oh, yeah.
Everything
The
costs money.
class.
Everything costs
the
money because
fly,
everybody else
the
is trying to make money
stay.
out of your
Oh, yeah.
money,
Exactly.
right? It's respectable. I respect it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
people are trying to make money. Let's fine. Let's pay for it. Let's do it. Yeah, it's not like I'm getting nothing out of it, right?
Yeah, because everything's transactional in life,
Yes,
whether we want
it
to
is.
think it is or not. But everything's transactional.
Exactly.
Relationships,
Yes.
whatever we're doing, it's all mostly transactional for
Mm-hmm.
the most part.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, with the cakes, like, now there are kids who've graduated high school that I've made their cakes when they turned 5, 6.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Do you like write on it like "Happy Birthday" and like use your artistic
You
mind
know,
for that? Or?
I have not been very good at freehand. But like, if you give me clay or fondant in that case, then I'll make something out of that. I'll make a person. I'll make Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse. You tell me. I don't know. I'll do it. Yeah. I've made a snake cake, a cockroach cake. It's crazy.
And how do you handle criticism or feedback, whether constructive or negative?
Well, positive feedback is amazing. Like, I thrive on it. But negative feedback, I just let it go. Like, let it slide. Everybody has a comment.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody has an opinion,
Oh yeah, always.
You just got to keep going. You have to listen to yourself and how much you believe in yourself, because that opinion right there, person who gave that opinion is going to forget about it
Oh, yeah.
in the next, not even hour, maybe.
Yeah.
They'll just say it and then move on.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's malicious just to be malicious, or it's out
Yeah,
of
it's sad.
whatever they think. Yeah. And you
If
see
it's
that more.
malicious just to be malicious, then that's sad. I'm praying for that person.
Yeah.
'Cause there's a
It's
lot.
something they're going through.
Yeah.
It's a projection of what they're going through.
Yeah.
And try not to take everything so personal.
That's what I was gonna say. A good friend of mine said, "Don't take anything personal."
Yeah, anything. Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, Brian. Remember Brian?
Oh yeah. Take everything with a grain of salt.
Everybody's going through something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everyone's got their own problems. Everyone's got their own issues they're going with. That's why we say just be kind.
Right.
Treat other people like a human.
If we judge everybody by just how they look at you or by how you look at them, man, we're in for deep trouble
Yep.
as a society.
That's what I do find, at least now with like social media. It's been more like that, more front face, judgmental on whatever you're posting, wearing, this, that, whatever you're flaunting, this. They'll like, oh, this person has this, and then they'll think something which is not even true. Or,
No.
or especially if you work hard, they always say, like we always say, you got lucky. They don't see the work that we've done in the back. They don't see the lack of sleep. They don't see the late night hours. They don't see all the long, hard, sleepless nights that sometimes you go through, because that's just what you have to do to get to the next level or to get to that next point in life that you want to reach.
Yeah. If you think about it, on social media, they have what? On your stories, they probably, I don't know, less than 20 seconds. I don't know how long a story goes, like each block.
Mm-hmm.
But they have that much time to form an opinion about you.
Right.
And that's not fair to them either, because
Yeah.
then they're not really knowing you. They don't know you at all.
Yeah, it's just the front cover of what
Yeah.
it is. They don't open
like
the
the
actual
front
book.
page, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as when you reach good achievements, what's something you and your family kind of do? Do you guys celebrate, go out to dinner, cook a big dinner or anything?
Well, we thank God. And then, we celebrate the little things in our own way. I mean, we don't go out much. It's very rare. We don't, I guess, I don't know, we don't try to reward in a big way. But like birthdays and things like that, kids, we love to celebrate our kids. My husband and I we don't do Valentine's Day. We probably go to dinner, We do a little thing. But, and the gifts is kind of like a thing. We don't do really much. Throughout the year, we'll gift each other, and it doesn't have to take a holiday to do it, kind of thing.
Right.
That's okay. I see like recognition and thanking God is the biggest thing that we do. Like it's the most important thing that we do, whether it's big or little or what.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, and my husband, he's Buddhist, like I said,
Yeah.
He's very fluid with all that stuff. He's
I
like,
didn't
he's
know
cool.
that. I said I didn't know that. You learn something every day.
Yeah. He's very simple.
Oh, yeah. And then what's a significant failure or setback that taught you an important lesson?
I just try not to dwell on it so I don't remember.
You just kind of let it just
Keep pushing.
keep pushing and just say, oh,
Yeah.
this happened. And then, okay, let's not let that happen again.
Thank goodness there hasn't been like a significant failure. I think of things as a challenge, and we just keep moving.
That's a good perspective. Kind of more challenge
Learn
than
from that
actual
lesson
failure.
and keep moving.
Yeah, it's not a failure. It's like a bump in the road kind of thing.
Don't do that again.
Yeah, it's a success when you get back up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like
And
that.
my kids know that. We teach the kids that too.
Yeah, that's important.
You only fail if you stop.
Yeah, exactly.
So it sounds cliche, but it's true.
It is. Yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah, just if you stop, then like winners never quit and quitters never win, right? So if you keep pushing, you're not quitting. But if you quit, then you'll never be that on the other side of the winning side.
Yeah. I mean, you can see like my kid who's taken that driver's test like 3 times already and still failing. It's like, no, you're
learning.
You're closer.
You're learning. You're getting better.
You're getting there, yeah. So, because they're hard on themselves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
was
think
like
we
that.
all are.
Yeah. You can't passively be okay with it though. You have to be like, okay, that jarred me a little bit. Let
Right.
me work a little bit harder. Let me see what else I could do. What do I need to do? To improve.
And then what's one piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
Okay, let me think. Yeah, I would buy property as a young kid.
Invest more. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. My kids put money away in a 401k right now today. You're 15 years old, 17, 18, whatever. Don't just forget about it. Put it in there, forget about it. Come back like a quarter of a century later and see what you have and see what you could do with it. So I do have a younger self. That's my children who's 18 and 15.
Yeah.
So you're kind of teaching them to kind of do the things you didn't do when you were younger. And set a better example as far as like the investments, because that's huge nowadays, right? Because everything's getting more expensive. So having assets, investments in the long term help you, because if you need some money, you can pull it out of your investments and not stress, right?
Yeah.
Or take a loan against your investments and use that to build another business or do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. So those are the things that generational wealth, like people kind of in that realm, in that world, do for their kids, you know. And so I didn't have that in the previous generation, so I want to do that for them later on so that they have that. And I think like my husband and I had some forethought in that. We started investing for them when they were very little, like 6 months old.
Oh,
Perfect.
nice.
Yeah.
And it's sitting there. But like I was telling you, there's like all this new stuff.
Well, there's always new stuff.
Yeah.
Staying on top of it, staying on top of reading articles, seeing where the world's going, investing in the future of
Yeah.
the world. Because a lot of stuff right now, like blockchain, AI, new technologies are going to be the next future, and it's going to
Yes.
be very big returns because they're new assets.
Yes.
So there's going to be more money coming into all these assets, especially like AI. That's going to be huge, I think, in the next 5-10 years.
Yeah, and I don't. It's going to be very significant and play a huge role on our children.
Oh yeah, teaching them how to talk to AI properly.
Yeah.
You know, prompt engineering, I think, is going to be one of the bigger professions for kids that should learn if they want to kind of be self-reliant, have their own business, because most people are not going to know how to talk to AI to get what they want out of it.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain way you have to talk to it to receive the results you're looking for.
Yeah. I know. I could deny it, till I'm blue, but this is how I felt about Bitcoin a long time ago. I was like,
Everyone did.
but shit.
99% of people did. The thing that's like that people have said, oh, Bitcoin's going to zero like
scam.
hundreds and hundreds of times. It's a scam.
You have to
I don't
mine it, like
understand
what?
it. But it's all about education. They were not educated. They
Yeah.
would just see what the mainstream would say. And the mainstream would say, oh, it's going down. And then everyone would, oh, it's a scam, it's a scam, it's a scam. But we now know.
We're learning not
it's
to
not-
listen to the mainstream stuff
Now you see it's not a scam. It's worth
Yeah.
over $100,000 or around 100,000 right now, and it started at less than a penny in
Imagine
2010, 2010, 2011.
Imagine going back in a time machine.
Yeah,
Man.
it's crazy. So that's where we have to educate ourselves and keep the open mind and not close it on.
Yeah.
Oh, because I don't understand it, I'm not going to invest in it.
Exactly.
You should understand it and see if it is something you can benefit your business, benefit your life long term. A lot of times the way I got into it is I invested, then I learned later, because once you have skin in the game, you're forced to learn what it is and what the future is. And once I've started reading everything, you're like, what the heck? This is the future. And you start seeing what other third world countries are using. Like in Africa, there's countries that don't have very good currency, but they're using crypto on a cell phone.
Wow.
And they're exchanging in Africa. There's many countries using the cell phone to exchange cryptocurrencies because their currency has gotten so devalued that it's worth nothing now.
Right.
So,
and that's how
people don't see that. They don't do the research. You look into different countries. There's these systems in place that if you do enough research, you'll understand blockchain is here to stay.
So this is peer to peer, even in other countries where their
It doesn't
money's
matter.
so devalued. But the people,
They can use it.
they're making it because of
They have their cell phones.
blockchain.
They're able to transact now in a monetary fiscal way instead of like have your a dollar to like it's worth $1 million, whatever the currency
one day
is.
and then next day.
It's just fluctuating so heavily that over time they just print so much because the government is so corrupt that they print their devaluation out. So that's what if you do the research, you'll start understanding where technology is going to fit, especially AI now. That's the next thing people should, I think, start learning is how is AI going to benefit me? Not, oh, AI is scary.
Yeah, AI, AI is actually developing the questions on, we're not using it yet, but I mean, very shortly here, we're going to be developing questions for certification exam for anesthesia.
Yeah, see? So eventually everything's going to be streamlined through AI, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that's the future.
So better to learn it now and teach the kids how to use it than have them be scared. And schools should be teaching kids, especially in high school, how to use AI instead of saying, don't use
that's cheating.
Don't use that. It's cheating.
It's not cheating.
But in the real world, you don't have to take an exam. I can Google, I can ask. If I don't know the answer to a question, you ask AI.
What do? We Google. We keep up. That's how we keep up.
Yeah. So then teaching these kids, it's almost like education is behind. They're not teaching the kids how to live in the future of what's coming.
Yeah, I mean, there's still the same number of hours in a day.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And for us to keep up with what we've learned in our generation to what our kids are learning now, you can't compress those in the same fixed hours in a day, right?
Yeah.
What do? We use Google. That's a tool. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever we're using as a tool.
It saves us time
That's not
too.
cheating.
No. because in the real world, there's no test, there's no exam, right?
Yeah. It's applications.
Yeah.
Even when I was like a CPA and I didn't know the question, I'd be Googling.
Yeah.
Client had a question. You're like, hey, what's this? I'm like, hold on. Oh, yeah, I can't hear you. You're breaking up. Hold on. Hold on. Hello? And then you find the answer, then boom.
Yeah.
Right? The client doesn't know. They don't care how you
Yeah.
got the answer. They just want the answer.
They just want the
Whether you
answer.
got it from AI, Google, it doesn't matter. So that's why I think the schools kind of hold back kids, is
I
not
know.
teaching them how to talk to AI, because that's the future.
Mm-hmm.
Prompt engineering. 'Cause I know your son's kind of used it a lot, and it's helped him.
A lot.
Right.
It's helped him a lot.
So it's like every kid could benefit from
Yeah.
it.
He had some, learning challenges, and he was as busy as I was. I'd be with that kid sitting next to him at the kitchen table from when he
Helping him.
started grade school all the way to sophomore year. And then junior year, it was like, you don't need me anymore? He's like, no, I'm good, Mom. Are you kidding me? He's doing great.
Yeah, see? Because AI, he's
He's
able to...
learning to use it.
Yep, he's learning how to educate himself on what he needs.
And really, that's what you want. You need them to be resourceful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Use the resources we have around them.
Yes.
Not tell them, don't use that because that's cheating. Because it's not really cheating. It's just saving you time on formulating
Yeah.
whatever
Or
questions.
like it's a different way of learning.
Yeah.
We don't all learn by reading. We learn by hearing, seeing, doing,
Experience.
Yeah. And it's just a different way for him to learn. Who wants to hear from their mom from the time they're in grade school till like sophomore year? It's like every
Yeah.
day.
But see, that's a great example of how AI is able to help.
Yeah.
Help kids.
It literally saved me because
Saved you time. Because I know
Yes,
you would
I
be
could
like, I've been
sleep
up
some.
since 1 a.m. helping Garen
yeah,
with homework
he was
now.
always tired.
And then now he's probably getting better rest. He's actually
Yes.
got more energy through the day. You have more energy through the day because you're not stressing on, is he
Yeah.
doing good in school? Because you said he didn't have to take his final, which is amazing. Because
He didn't have to take his final. If you're a senior, you're doing 93% or better in the class, then you didn't have to take your final. So
Oh, wow.
he had a day off yesterday.
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, so see,
Yeah.
that's a blessing there. So,
Yeah.
so
No, I'm
using,
telling you, we had tears.
see, that's amazing because
Going
you've
through
seen
school.
it. Yeah. So,
I'd be at the school, tears, Me, because I'm so tired. Help me. Help me help him.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're glad AI came into place.
Oh, yeah. Yes. It's scary, but yeah, it's here.
Yeah. You just got to understand how to use it and kind of navigate the new
Mm-hmm.
world we're going into, really, is what I think.
Yeah, I think we are learning to accept it.
Yeah. I learned more embracing it and using
Yes,
it.
more
than-
like embracing it.
Than being like, oh, that's scary. It's like, life's scary.
Mm-hmm.
You got to deal with it regardless.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but we're going to start
Just gotta
wrapping
get
up.
through it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just going to start wrapping up. So if there's one piece of advice you would give people, whether it's life, business, or whatever, fitness advice, what would that one piece of advice be?
I say, establishing relationships is very important in business and in life in general. I never make a friend to make an enemy, ever. If somebody has done me wrong, it just depends if it was like intentionally malicious or not. But it's always forgivable to me. That's just my heart, And it depends what they want in life. They want to be successful or what. It's relationships. If you want to be successful as a person, it's in your heart. You have to give that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well,
If it's just one piece of advice, I have a ton.
well, we can always have you back as well, and you can give all the other pieces of advice as well.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you for joining us today. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode of the Passion to Paycheck podcast. What's your story?